Have you ever believed that your own flesh and blood, the one who grew up with you under the same roof, could turn love into a dagger stabbing straight into your heart just for money? My name is Sophia Mitchell, 32 years old, an ordinary elementary school teacher but carrying a sacred memory, a small family hotel by the lake called Lakeside Inn. It was not just a place of business, but the legacy of my parents, the childhood and memories of our entire family. But everything changed when my sister, Caroline Mitchell, 4 years older than me, turned ambition into a weapon. Caroline was always ambitious, valuing money above family bonds. When our parents passed away, the shared inheritance of Lakeside Inn became the center of conflict. I wanted to keep it as a piece of family memory, but she only wanted to sell it to a big real estate corporation. That was the moment my honor, my inheritance, and my happiness were all at risk. In the peaceful setting of Riverview, Pennsylvania, where family ties and memories should have been untouchable, I was forced into a silent war in which the one holding the knife was none other than my own sister. And like every revenge story, the truth is never simple. Because this was only the beginning. This was only the beginning. Sophia Mitchell had always lived a quiet life. She taught at the elementary school in Riverview, a town where winding streets led straight to the lakeshore, and the small family hotel, Lakeside Inn, stood like part of the town's very soul. Every morning, she rose at 5, brewed a cup of hot coffee, then walked through the old wooden hallway, breathing in that familiar scent, the pine wood aroma mixed with the sweet smell of waffles her mother used to bake for guests. To Sophia, Lakeside Inn was never just a business. It was a legacy drenched in memories. Every family photo on the lobby walls, every tiny brass bell hanging above the front door, every page in the guest book, all of it was a part of her emotional life. "How much longer do you think you'll cling to this place?" Caroline once asked on a tense evening as they sat together in the old kitchen. Sophia set down her teacup, shook her head gently. "As long as it holds our parents' memories." That was the difference between them. Sophia was sentimental, treasuring memories, while Caroline was practical, seeing only monetary value. Their parents, aware of this contrast, created an operating agreement for the company Lakeside Inn LLC. The terms were clear. Any withdrawal over $5,000 required both signatures, selling assets required full consent, and most importantly, the original ledger and a handwritten letter from their mother, locked in safe deposit box number 412 at Riverview First National Bank, would serve as the ultimate record in any dispute. Sophia always thought of those rules as her shield, never imagining she would one day need them. Each week, she kept the habit of checking every room. She would tap her fingers on the wooden banister, recalling how, as children, her mother made her and Caroline change bedsheets together to learn the value of hard work. In the hotel's lounge, the old piano her mother had left behind still sat in the corner, where Sophia sometimes played Moon River for the guests. These simple rituals were her source of strength. Caroline was different. She rarely appeared at the hotel, except for family meetings. She always arrived in designer clothes, carrying expensive handbags, talking about outside investments. Once, as they walked through the lobby, Caroline whispered, "Sophia, if you sell this place, you'll have enough money to never set foot in a classroom again." Sophia replied, "I don't need money. I just need to keep this place." The silence afterward was so heavy that she could hear the ticking of the wall clock. Sophia's life revolved only around her students and the inn. She sought no glory, only the preservation of a legacy. But that peace began to crack. One afternoon at the bank, while submitting tuition paperwork, she caught sight of Caroline walking out of the manager's office. Caroline forced a smile, just checking a few things. Yet Sophia felt something was wrong. Adding to her unease, relatives had begun giving her odd looks lately, as if someone had been whispering dark rumors behind her back. One evening, reviewing the reservation log, Sophia noticed several negative reviews had appeared online, accusing the hotel of scamming guests with extra fees. The claims were baseless, yet cancellations spiked sharply. She sat frozen, hands trembling as she flipped through the old ledger, recalling her parents' rules. Dual signatures, mutual consent, safe deposit box 412. Could this be the signal of a storm about to break? And then, when Sophia heard the phone ring in the dead of night and Caroline's cold voice on the other end, she knew the unusual had begun. That morning, the sky over Riverview was as clear as ever, the lake glimmering with sunlight. Sophia sat in her classroom, having just finished a math lesson with her kids, when her phone buzzed. It was a message from the bank manager. "We're sorry, but access to the Lakeside Inn company account has been suspended due to a requested management change." Sophia froze. She had never requested any change, and according to the operating agreement, any alteration required dual signatures. Her heart pounded. She quickly asked for half a day off and rushed straight to the bank. At the counter, she tried to steady her voice. "Can you explain to me what's going on? This is my family's account." The manager, Priya Patel, looked at Sophia with regret. "Sophia, we're only following the instructions sent by Caroline Mitchell as co-owner. She provided documents claiming you withdrew funds illegally. For security, we had to suspend your access." Sophia's face burned, her chest tightening. "I've never withdrawn a single dollar without dual signatures." Her voice trembled. Priya sighed, sliding a printed email across the desk. "Evidence, email 4 a.m., request to suspend Sophia Mitchell's access due to suspected embezzlement. Please confirm. Caroline Mitchell." Holding the paper, Sophia felt her world collapsing. She folded it, shoved it into her bag, and left the bank on unsteady legs. That night, Sophia confronted Caroline in the hotel lounge, where the warm yellow lamp lit up old family photos on the walls. "What have you done, Caroline? Why did you send that email to the bank?" Sophia choked out. Caroline lounged on the sofa, legs crossed, lips painted dark red, eyes cold. "Did you think I wouldn't notice the discrepancies in the books? You're ruining the inn's reputation, Sophia. I'm just protecting the family asset." Sophia slammed her palm on the wooden table. "No, you're fabricating, miss. I never did such a thing. Every expense is documented. You know the rule. Any withdrawal over $5,000 requires both signatures." Caroline smirked. "Don't be naive, Sophia. Everyone in the family knows you handle the finances. Erase a few numbers, add a couple of witnesses, that's enough. Who will they believe, you or me?" Tears streamed down Sophia's face. She wasn't only devastated by the accusation, but by the fact that her own sister was willing to throw her into the abyss. Images of her parents, of the kitchen where the family once gathered, flashed in her mind. Now all of it had become weapons in her sister's hands. The next day, rumors spread quickly. A few relatives called, voices heavy. "Is it true, Sophia? Did you take money from the inn?" She choked up trying to explain, but the sting of suspicion shattered her heart. Back at the hotel, she caught staff looking at her differently, doubt flickering in their eyes. That afternoon, while Sophia sorted through documents, Caroline stormed in, tossing a stack of forged papers onto the desk. "Here's the proof, Sophia. You left a trail. It's shameful." Sophia picked them up, seeing altered ledger pages with fake withdrawal lines. Her hands shook. "What have you done? This is fake." Caroline shrugged. "Who's going to believe you? A naive schoolteacher or a seasoned businesswoman?" Sophia stepped back, her chest constricting. Helplessness smothered her. Yet deep inside, a spark of defiance flickered. She remembered safe deposit box No. 412, her mother's handwritten letter, the rules set in stone. She knew she had to fight, though she had no idea where to begin. That night, Sophia sat alone in her dimly lit room, staring out at the lake. The wind howled through the cracks, waves slapping against the shore like reminders. She whispered, "I won't let Caroline steal my honor. I will find the truth." But inside, a dark premonition lingered. Caroline had gone too far, and surely she had more sinister moves prepared. Sophia thought she had hit rock bottom, but she didn't know. The worst was yet to come. But worse was coming. Sophia thought the blow from Caroline's fake email had been the final straw. But it wasn't. That was only the opening shot. In just a few weeks, everything began spiraling out of control, piece by piece, as fragments of Sophia's life were dragged into the open with accusations and hidden tricks. Each move was carefully designed to turn her into the loser in her family's eyes. A family meeting was called at Lakeside Inn. Sophia walked into the small conference room, where wooden chairs were arranged in a circle and aunts, uncles, and cousins were already seated. In the center of the table, Caroline placed a thick file folder with a dark blue cover. stamped boldly with the words, Lakeside Inn Financial Report Q2. She raised her voice with authority. Please take a look, everyone. This is proof that Sophia has caused tens of thousands of dollars to disappear from the inn's accounts. Sophia shot up. That's impossible. I have never authorized a single withdrawal beyond the limit. Those numbers are fabricated. But the relatives' eyes were filled with confusion. Some whispered among themselves. Others stared at her as if she had been hiding something all along. Caroline flipped to several pages, pointing at suspicious expenses. Here, over $12,000 last month for system maintenance, signed only by Sophia. Everyone, see for yourselves. Sophia lunged forward. That signature is not mine. But her words fell into silence. The meeting ended in tension. A few relatives left without even saying goodbye. Sophia felt the once warm family home turn into something foreign. On the table, the forged documents still lay there, like a death sentence. Evidence, printed financial report, 3:30 p.m., system maintenance, $12,000, signed Sophia Mitchell. A few days later, Caroline brought in Daniel Torres, a former employee, to face the family. In the hotel lounge, everyone sat in a circle. Caroline introduced him with fake gravity. This is Daniel. He worked here for 3 years. He will tell you the truth about Sophia. Daniel bowed his head, voice shaky but clear. I was shorted on my paycheck many times. Sophia told me the inn was struggling, but I knew the money was going elsewhere. I stayed quiet until now. Sophia burst into tears. Daniel, how could you say that? You know I always paid you in full. I even advanced you money when your wife gave birth. Daniel avoided her gaze, hands clasped tightly, sweat on his forehead. But before the family, his words cut like a knife. Caroline feigned surprise. Sophia, you still deny it? A loyal employee has finally spoken. Sophia looked around, searching for an ally, but found only eyes turning away. A single thought screamed in her head. Why would they believe a baseless claim over the years I've given to this inn with honesty? Soon, Sophia was left isolated. A few relatives began whispering behind her back. Maybe she really is greedy. In their eyes, Sophia transformed from the reliable heir into someone suspicious, tainted. One late night, Sophia opened her laptop to check the reservation system. She froze at the flood of negative reviews. Lines of text glared back at her. This hotel scams you with hidden fees, don't trust it. Total ripoff, unprofessional staff. The room was nothing like advertised. Within 2 weeks, the cancellation rate had doubled. Revenue plummeted. Staff whispered anxiously, fearing their jobs were at risk. Sophia sat by the window, hands trembling around a cup of cold coffee. She called Caroline, voice breaking. You did this, didn't you? These reviews are all fake. You're destroying the inn. Caroline laughed coldly over the line. Sophia, if customers complain, there must be a problem. Don't blame others. The only way to save Lakeside Inn is to sell it. I already have a buyer willing to pay top dollar. Among the staff, Sophia's credibility crumbled. Some murmured, maybe Caroline's right. Maybe selling really is the solution. Sophia felt trapped, backed against a wall with no one to turn to. Evidence, anonymous review log, 11:45 p.m. Hotel scams customers with service fees. User Lakeshrew. 3 consecutive blows, each like a dagger. From a guardian of family honor, Sophia had become the suspect, shunned by employees, abandoned by relatives. Walking the inn's halls, whispers cut off as soon as she passed. The lounge, once alive with piano music, now sat in eerie silence like a haunted house. Sophia tried to gather real proof to clear her name, but the harder she fought, the more isolated she became. Caroline had planned everything carefully, step by step, driving her sister into a corner, destroying her reputation in preparation for the ultimate strike. Caroline wasn't finished. After turning the family against Sophia, she began preparing for something bigger, an overreach Sophia could not yet imagine. Sophia thought everything had already hit rock bottom. But she was wrong. Caroline wasn't stopping at smearing her sister's name. Behind the accusations, the rumors, and the flood of anonymous reviews, there was a much bigger scheme, a hidden hand pulling the strings. And that scheme was about to surface in a way Sophia never imagined. One evening, as Sophia walked past a small cafe by the lake, she overheard 2 men talking. They mentioned the name Riverview Maintenance Co. Sophia stiffened instantly, recognizing it as the company name listed in the falsified report Caroline had presented to the family. She stopped and leaned closer to listen. Clever, isn't it? Caroline and Mason have been funneling money through that shell company for a while now, one of them sneered. Sophia's chest tightened. Mason Clark, Caroline's boyfriend, was a real estate broker. She had never trusted him, but now the puzzle pieces clicked together. Caroline didn't just want to ruin her reputation. She and Mason had crafted an elaborate plan to bleed Lakeside Inn dry and then sell it off cheaply to Redwood Hospitality. Sophia sat frozen at a nearby table, hands clenched into fists. This was no longer a family misunderstanding. It was a calculated plot, a trap designed to weaken the inn until it could be seized. The very next day, Caroline convened a sudden family meeting. She stood at the front, voice sharp and commanding. The inn is in crisis. Revenues are crashing. Our reputation is damaged. I've spoken with Redwood Hospitality, and they are ready to buy everything at a fair price. This is the only way to preserve our assets. Sophia leapt to her feet. No. We can't sell. Our parents left Lakeside Inn as part of our family's memory. This is not just about money. Caroline shot her a cold glare. Sophia, you've already proven you're incapable. Let the people who know what they're doing take over. Silence weighed down the room. A few relatives nodded as if swayed. Sophia felt her footing slipping away, her voice drowned in the tide. After the meeting, she walked down the hotel hallway, steps heavy. She overheard two staff whispering. One muttered, "Maybe selling really is best. At least we'll get severance." Hearing those words, Sophia's chest splintered with pain. For a fleeting moment, she almost believed she had lost. She pictured Lakeside Inn sold off, her parents' photo taken down from the wall, the old piano removed, every memory erased. That night, Sophia sat at her worn wooden desk, the dim golden lamp casting shadows on her tired face. She opened her laptop, desperate to find anything that could prove her innocence. But most files had been locked or deleted. Only a few backup folders remained. Inside, she discovered one crucial detail. Every invoice from Riverview Maintenance Co. traced back to the same bank account. And that account didn't belong to the inn. Evidence: transaction log, 2:17 a.m., payment $8,500, Riverview Maintenance Co., beneficiary account, Mason Clark. Sophia stared at the screen, sweat breaking across her forehead. She had found a piece of the puzzle, but was a single piece enough to fight an entire conspiracy? Caroline wasn't finished. At a large extended family gathering, she stood and raised her voice so everyone could hear. It's time we face the truth. Sophia hasn't just lost money. She's turned this inn into a laughingstock in the community. If we don't sell now, we'll lose everything. An uncle rose to agree. She's right. We can't let a naive school teacher manage an asset worth millions. Sophia felt herself collapse inside. The buzzing whispers around her pierced like 100 needles to her ears. She tried to speak. Please, believe me. I didn't do these things. I will find the proof. But no one wanted to listen. That night, Sophia stepped out onto the balcony, staring at the misty lake under the moonlight. She felt utterly alone. Her parents were gone. Her family had turned away. Her staff doubted her, and her own sister had become her enemy. When hope seemed all but gone, Sophia suddenly remembered a clause in the operating agreement her parents left behind. She rushed to her personal safe, pulled out an old copy, and flipped through the pages. One line burned into her eyes. The original ledger and letter of intent stored in safe deposit box number 412, Riverview First National Bank shall serve as the ultimate authority in any dispute. Her heart pounded. Maybe, just maybe, in that box lay the key to turning everything around. A spark of light pierced through the suffocating darkness. She drew in a deep breath, whispering to herself, "If Caroline can play dirty, then I can fight with the truth. And this time, I won't let her take me down so easily." Sophia gripped the operating agreement tightly, her eyes gleaming for the first time in days of despair. She knew it was time to think about revenge, and her weapon would be the very rules her parents left behind. After days of being cornered, Sophia realized there was only one way left to reclaim her honor and Lakeside Inn. She had to fight back. Not with pleas or tears, but with a meticulous plan that could flip the board. She remembered every clause in the operating agreement, the safeguard her parents had created to protect their legacy. That would be her legal framework, her shield and her sword. Sophia named her plan CAGE. Collect, align, gamble, edge. Collect, gather the evidence. The first step was proving Caroline had orchestrated the entire charade. But how could she get enough data when her sister had locked her out? Sophia turned to Ethan Nguyen, a college friend who now worked in IT. In a room tangled with wires and glowing monitors, Ethan said, "We can recover deleted data from iCloud and Time Machine. Even if Caroline erased something, there will still be traces." A few days later, Ethan handed Sophia a compressed file of old backups. With trembling hands, she opened it. Dozens of emails between Caroline and Mason, along with falsified invoices from Riverview Maintenance Co. Evidence, email log, 11:32 p.m. Invoice draft, Riverview Maintenance, amount $14,200 sent to Redwood Contact. Sophia gasped. This was the first piece of the truth. But she knew emails alone weren't enough. She needed witnesses and hard documents that couldn't be denied. She sought out Maria Alvarez, the longtime housekeeper. Maria vividly remembered Sophia's mother's habit of keeping written ledgers and paper copies in safe deposit box Form 12. Maria whispered, "Miss Sophia, your mother always said, the truth written on paper can never vanish. I'm willing to testify." Tears welled in Sophia's eyes. At last, another ally. A line. Secure allies. Sophia couldn't fight this battle alone. She met with Rachel Kim, a civil and small business attorney. Surrounded by shelves of law books, Rachel listened carefully before nodding. "You have a chance, Sophia. But it must be done by the book. We'll use the operating agreement. If we prove Caroline committed financial fraud, she'll be stripped of her management rights." Sophia then reached out to Mr. Harold Johnson, a forensic accountant. He promised to comb through every transaction and invoice to expose discrepancies. Finally, she approached Priya Patel, the bank manager. Priya admitted, "Sophia, I had to comply with Caroline because her documents looked legitimate. But if you open box 412 with your lawyer present, I will stand with you." For the first time, Sophia felt a spark of hope. She was no longer alone. Gamble, the risky bet. Even with her growing network, Sophia knew danger lurked. Caroline had social clout, Mason's backing, and relatives on her side. The family could refuse to hear her, forcing her into a costly court battle. Caroline might countersue for defamation if Sophia revealed evidence too soon. Ethan's recovered data might not hold up in court without proving chain of custody. Daniel, the false witness, might stay silent or continue supporting Caroline. If Caroline closed the deal with Redwood before Sophia's plan was executed, everything would be lost. Sitting in her room, the golden lamplight falling across her determined face, Sophia understood. This was a gamble. But without risk, she would lose both her family legacy and her dignity. Edge. The hidden advantage. Sophia compiled all the evidence and mapped out each step. Rachel told her, "We'll wait until the Lakeside Inn member meeting. That's when Caroline will feel most confident and careless. Let her incriminate herself before we unleash the evidence." Sophia nodded. Deep inside, she kept her secret ace hidden, her mother's notarized letter in box 412, and Daniel's recorded confession of regret. It would be the knockout blow, but she wouldn't reveal it yet. The action plan: collect digital data. Ethan would continue recovering emails, iCloud backups, and provide Sophia with unaltered originals. Open box number 412. With Rachel and Priya, Sophia would retrieve the original ledger and her mother's handwritten letter. Forensic audit. Mr. Johnson would analyze discrepancies between real and fake invoices, linking them directly to Mason's account. Prepare witnesses. Maria would testify about her mother's bookkeeping habits, while Sophia would work to persuade Daniel to come clean. Call the meeting. Sophia would formally request a member session under company bylaws, where Caroline planned to announce the sale. Counterattack. As Caroline presented with confidence, Sophia's allies would release evidence piece by piece, stripping away every lie until Caroline had no escape. Sophia wrote everything in an old leather notebook, marking each step with red ink. On the last page, she scrawled, "The truth will prevail." But just when Sophia believed she had a solid plan, a message came that froze her blood. Redwood Hospitality has signed a memorandum of understanding with Caroline. The Lakeside Inn sale is set to close within 30 days. Sophia's phone slipped from her hand, her fingers cold as ice. If this went through, her entire plan, every detail she'd built, would be meaningless. Sophia realized her revenge plan was teetering on the brink of collapse. because Caroline had already moved one step ahead with Redwood. Sophia knew time was running out. Caroline had already signed a memorandum of understanding with Redwood Hospitality. If the final contract went through, her entire revenge plan would crumble to dust. She had to act now, step by step, following her cage strategy. This wasn't just a legal battle anymore. It was a fight for her family's honor and her parents' memory. Sophia and Ethan sat in the small upstairs room of Lakeside Inn. The laptop screen glowed, lines of code running endlessly. Ethan was tense but confident. "We need to back up the entire server before Caroline wipes the trail. Look here, this log shows exactly who accessed and edited the files." Sophia leaned in, and there it was in black and white. Evidence, system log, user, Caroline M, modified invoice 0523.xlsx. Her fists clenched, proof that Caroline herself had tampered with the books. She saved the data onto an external drive and locked it away in her private safe. The next day, Sophia went to Riverview First National Bank with attorney Rachel Kim and manager Priya Patel. A clerk guided them into the secure vault room. Safe deposit box number 412 sat quietly, dust on its metal edges. Priya turned the key, and the door swung open, revealing a worn, yellow envelope. Sophia's hands shook as she opened it. Inside was the original ledger and her mother's handwritten letter. The familiar script glowed in the light. "No sale of Lakeside Inn may occur if one child dissents. All financial disputes must be resolved by independent audit." Tears streamed down Sophia's face. Her mother's voice echoed in her mind. Rachel whispered, "Sophia, this is a legal weapon, but keep it hidden until the right moment." Sophia passed the recovered data to Mr. Harold Johnson, the forensic accountant. In his paper-stacked office, he scrutinized each invoice for hours before looking up. "There's clear manipulation. The Riverview Maintenance Co. invoices were all generated from the same computer, using a font inconsistent with originals. And most importantly, the money flows directly into Mason Clark's account." A spark lit in Sophia's chest. The case was growing stronger, yet she knew Caroline would not sit still. She met with Maria Alvarez, who held her mother's old notebook tightly. Maria pointed to the handwritten numbers. "I can testify in court. Mrs. Mitchell always kept her records by hand. Caroline's figures are impossible." The harder part was Daniel Torres. Sophia found him in a dim bar downtown. He avoided her eyes, voice shaking. "I can't. Caroline paid me. If I go back on it, she'll destroy me." Sophia laid a hand on his shoulder. "Daniel, you know I never wronged you. Remember when I advanced you pay so your wife could have her baby in peace? Don't let the truth stay buried." Daniel said nothing, his silence heavier than words. Sophia left with her heart sinking. At last, Sophia formally demanded a member meeting under the company bylaws. Caroline accepted instantly, convinced it was her moment to finalize the sale. That day, the family gathered in the Lakeside Inn conference room. The atmosphere was thick, every breath weighed with tension. Caroline walked in with Mason, clutching a thick stack of papers. Sophia sat across the table, flanked by Rachel, Johnson, and Priya. The major setback. When the meeting began, Caroline unveiled her new weapon, a video clip showing Sophia at the cashier's desk, signing a document. Caroline slammed it on the table. "Here, look at this, everyone." Sophia approved the suspicious expense. "You saw her sign it with your own eyes." On the screen, Sophia appeared, pen in hand, scrawling a signature. The room erupted in whispers. Relatives turned to glare at her. Sophia's face went pale. The footage was too clear. "No, I never signed this," she stammered. Caroline sneered. "Still denying it? Cameras don't lie, Sophia." In that instant, Sophia felt her revenge plan collapsing, every effort about to be swept away. Rachel leaned close and whispered, "Stay calm. Let the forensic work." Sophia inhaled deeply and stood. "Caroline, if you truly believe this video, then let Mr. Johnson examine it." Johnson stepped forward, his eyes fixed on the screen. After minutes of scrutiny, he declared, "This video has been altered. The lighting and hand motion don't align. Worse, the original expense sheet has no signature from Sophia. This is a digital forgery." Caroline's face faltered for a moment before hardening. "Excuses. You'll still lose." Sophia lifted her chin. "I'm not afraid. I have real evidence, and I will reveal it at the right time." The room descended into chaos. Caroline tried to block every counterpoint. Mason whispered frantically to her lawyer. Relatives exchanged nervous glances. Sophia tightened her grip on the documents from safe deposit box number 412. She whispered to herself, just one more step. One last move. The grand conference hall of Lakeside Inn was packed that day. Light from the overhead chandeliers spilled down, illuminating every tense face. This was no longer just a family meeting. It had turned into a courtroom in miniature, a place where truth would be revealed and justice demanded. Sophia sat across from Caroline, a bundle of documents she had guarded until the last possible moment resting before her. At her side sat attorney Rachel Kim, forensic accountant Mr. Johnson, bank manager Priya Patel, and longtime housekeeper Maria Alvarez. Caroline sat proud, Mason whispering in her ear, convinced they had already won. Caroline began with a sharp voice. Ladies and gentlemen, Sophia has caused severe financial losses, and the only solution is to sell Lakeside Inn to Redwood Hospitality. Here is the preliminary contract. Delay will cost us everything. Sophia rose, her voice calm but echoing across the room. No, Caroline, you're the one who orchestrated this fraud, and today I will show everyone the truth. Caroline laughed scornfully. You? A mere school teacher? You think you can take me down? Sophia gave a signal to Mr. Johnson. He set his laptop on the table, projecting data onto the large screen. Evidence number 1, the forged email accusing Sophia of embezzlement. Evidence, email 9:14 a.m., request to suspend Sophia Mitchell's access due to suspected embezzlement. Caroline Mitchell. Rachel explained, this email is not only false but violates company bylaws. This was the spark that ignited the chain of fraud. Evidence 2, the falsified financial report and doctored ledgers. Evidence, financial report 30 p.m. system maintenance, $12,000, signed Sophia Mitchell. Mr. Johnson pointed out, Sophia's signature was forged. System logs show the edits were made by Caroline herself. Evidence number 3, the transaction log leading to Mason Clark's account. Evidence, transaction log 02:17 a.m., payment $8,500, Riverview Maintenance Co., beneficiary Mason Clark. Sophia locked eyes with Mason. You were the accomplice. None of this money went to maintenance, it went straight into your pocket. Mason's face drained of color, his eyes dropping to the floor. Evidence number 4, the server system log. Evidence system log 01:22 a.m., user Caroline M., modified invoice 0523.xlsx. Ethan appeared via video call. All activity leaves a digital footprint. This is undeniable. Caroline's face flushed, her voice faltering. This is all circumstantial. Nothing here is legally binding. Sophia tightened her grip and pulled out her secret ace, the envelope from safe deposit box number 412. The room fell silent. She opened it and laid her mother's handwritten letter on the table. The familiar script filled the screen. No sale of Lakeside Inn may occur if either child dissents. All financial disputes must be reviewed by independent audit. Any violation results in forfeiture of management rights. Gasps rippled through the room. Rachel read aloud. This is a notarized document preserved in safe deposit box 412 at Riverview First National Bank. This is the ultimate authority. Caroline went pale, her voice trembling. No, this can't be. But Sophia wasn't finished. She pressed play on a small recorder. Daniel Torres's voice filled the hall. Caroline paid me to lie about Sophia. I regret it. Sophia never withheld my pay. The air froze. Every eye turned to Caroline. Rachel stood tall, her voice cutting through the silence. According to the operating agreement, Caroline Mitchell has violated Clause 8.3 through financial fraud and fabricated evidence. We demand her immediate removal from management. Priya Patel from the bank nodded firmly. With this evidence, Caroline will lose all access to the company accounts. Mr. Johnson added, all fraudulent transfers must be repaid, with legal costs included. No one hesitated. The family council voted unanimously. Caroline was officially stripped of her management rights. The Redwood contract was declared void. Caroline shrieked, You'll regret this. I was only trying to save the inn. But no one believed her anymore. Mason slipped his hand away from hers and quietly left the room. Consequences crashed down on Caroline. She was removed from management, losing all control over Lakeside Inn, ordered to repay every cent she had stolen, plus court costs. The contract with Redwood was nullified. A temporary injunction barred her from accessing accounts, staff, or the property. She was required to publicly apologize to family and employees. As Caroline was escorted out, Sophia stood tall, her eyes blazing. The whispers of doubt that once haunted her transformed into thunderous applause. Justice had spoken. Sophia lifted her gaze toward the framed photo of her parents on the wall and whispered, "I kept Lakeside Inn safe, and I kept the truth alive." Relief swept through the hall like a storm finally broken. Justice served. After the meeting, Caroline left Lakeside Inn like a shadow. Within just a few days, news of the fraud spread across Riverview. People whispered in the cafe, at the market, and in the post office. Caroline Mitchell forged the books, her own family stripped her of power. A woman once seen as ambitious and shrewd was now branded and shunned. Banks flagged Caroline as high risk, monitoring every transaction. Former business associates drifted away. No one wanted to partner with someone exposed as a fraud. Worse still, the local tax authorities began combing through her records, investigating the fake invoices tied to Riverview Maintenance Co. Caroline's future sank into darkness, and her bond with Sophia fractured beyond repair. For Sophia, life turned to a new page. She officially took over management of Lakeside Inn, for the first time free from suspicion or restraint. She implemented transparent practices, quarterly audits, a dual-signature digital system, and a public dashboard for the family to track finances. The staff regained their trust as they saw her determined efforts to restore the inn's reputation. Sophia even launched a refund program for guests affected by the fake reviews, offering gift vouchers as compensation. Step by step, Lakeside Inn rebuilt its credibility, and bookings began to rise again. Meanwhile, Daniel Torres, the man who had once given false testimony, came to find Sophia. His face was worn, his voice heavy with guilt. "I'm sorry. I let fear and money blind me. Thank you for giving me the chance to tell the truth." Sophia looked at him, her heart still scarred, but she spoke gently. "Daniel, I can't bring you back to work here, but I believe everyone deserves a chance to make things right." In that moment, a spark of humanity flickered, reminding Sophia that even in the deepest betrayal, compassion still had a place. Family bonds need love, but a legacy requires discipline and transparency. When emotions collide with greed, only truth and the law can uphold justice. This is not just Sophia's lesson, but a reminder for all of us. Sometimes the one who stabs us in the back is not a stranger, but someone closest to us. Yet in the end, justice always prevails, and the truth can never remain buried forever. So what about you? If one day you found yourself in Sophia's shoes, betrayed by your own blood over money, would you choose silence and endurance, or would you rise to reclaim the truth? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We would love to hear your story and perspective. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit subscribe to the True Revenge Stories channel, click like, and share this video with your friends. Every day, we bring you the most authentic, gripping, and emotional revenge stories. And if you want to dive into even more dramatic tales, check out the Revenge Stories playlist right here on the channel, where shocking betrayals and stunning turnarounds await, stories you definitely don't want to miss. Are you ready for the next story?